Hello, my name is Leila Sanchez, and this is my final project overview. Trials of Love is the name of my game. And I just wanted to briefly mention that I am currently uploading my game to my public Google Drive folder right here. And then once that's done, I will add it to my board's website portfolio. Going over what I use for the game, I imported two maps and created a custom one for level 2, which is this one that I have open. I also used imported assets to create this one, whereas the other levels are completely just imported over. I used vector math throughout my project, most notably on my chase damage jar, which you'll see I have a few here. Let's get that open. All right. On this eventic is where my vector math is going to be most notable. So all these yellow pins are vector values, and I use them in order to figure out the difference between the jar and the player pawn, which is a third-person character, normalize that, multiply it by the speed of jar set as a default value of 100, and then multiply that by the normalized value, adding it to the get actor location, and that would then lead us to the chasing aspect. And this is also cast to my game instance, just following the singleton pattern. I also created a moving platform blueprint. I was able to add a built-in component here called interpolate to movement, which can allow you to have an array of control points right over here. You can add it or you could hard code it that are vectors. I created this move to position variable vector, and when I created this, I checked show 3D widget so that way it'd be visible in the game for developers. And I also called it in the construction script rather than the event graph to be the second control position besides the starting position, which is wherever the object is set to in the beginning. So 0, 0 is going to be wherever this is. So there's actually a cube there. There we go. All right. This construction script, once again, just allowed me to use no hard-coded vectors within the blueprint. Moving on, I use overlap events throughout my code, as well as spawn and destroy actors, most notably at the end level where I destroy a static mesh actor and spawned another from a class blueprint. Let's take a look at that. Right here, I've just got my exploder component open, and I have this currently attached to my Sparkle Explode bottle. And when the player overlaps with this, it will spawn the spark effect blueprint. It's going to play a sound, and then it's going to also use the sphere overlap actors, which I'll look more into in a bit. And at the end of the loop, once it's completed, it's going to destroy the actor, which would be the bottle itself. I've also created a few custom components. One, for example, this exploder component here. It's got a few variables, 2 arrays, and I also have some over here. I've got the health component, health player, and my points component. These are all being used currently. looking at my points component, pretty simple. I created a branch. I have a variable, has UI. If it's true, create the tracker widget, add it to viewport, set visibility. Simple enough. And then here I created a custom event where I will update the points, and I will update the point total, set the point total, and then I also have it set in my game where once you have 5 points, you'll actually gain another life. So if it's true, points to gain plus by the multiplier, you would cast to the game instance because that's where I store my lives variable. And this plus plus node just adds 1 to it simply. All of the components that I created that need to be displayed, like the health status of the player, they are updated on UI widgets that I created. In between each level, I use open level nodes on trigger boxes. Like at the end over here, I have a trigger box that will load the next level on collision. The singleton pattern is used to ensure there are only one instance existing within the game, which can be accessed globally in the code, like how I stored my lives and points variable. Let's take a look at that. My singleton right here. So right here, you'll see that I have the default value set to 0 for starting player points, and lives are set to 3. With these variables being stored here, that just means I can access them globally throughout my code and get or modify them as needed. These values also persist through level loads. To show my user interface, let's take a quick look at my UI folder. All right, once that's opened, this is my game over widget with a blur background. I've got the restart button, quit game, back to the main menu, whatever you want to do there, and these buttons all function. Let's see, on click to restart. Perfect. I put a little comment in case it didn't work, but it was fine. All right. Besides that, I've also got my health bar here that has my health percentage and my lives variable stored. This also updates using a couple different functions here, as well as variables, and it also casts to the game instance because that's where the variable is stored first. Besides this, I also have my main menu widget and the score tracker. Keeps track of the points. When I demo the game, I'll show all the buttons functioning and the UI actually updating when changes happen to the player. I just opened up my third-person character blueprint, but I utilize object-oriented programming throughout this project. For encapsulation, you'll see I often collapse long chains of code, either to a function or a macro, to make the code more abstract in turn. This is one example. My stop sprint or start sprint is either shift down, as well as get nearest glowy statue. This one's pretty long. So thankfully I collapsed that. A great majority of my blueprints also inherit from the actor class and gain the base of the parent class plus whatever I add to it. Polymorphism is the ability to call the same function at different points in the code with different inputs and return a value you need based on those inputs. So you could call for each loop as many times as you want, and it'll do something different as long as you make it do something different. To go a little more in depth about the array I created, let's go back to my exploder component right here. Under the function sparkle explode, I created an array called actors to push, where I set here using the sphere overlap actors. And then I called for each item in this array to set simulate physics to true. And then it is going to push away from the actor this component is on. And to do that, you need to get the owner of the component's location. So whatever this component is on, that location. And send impulse using the get force by distance and get vector from source to target, which are custom functions with custom inputs and outputs that I added to make this very simpler to understand. All right, after that little explanation, I'd like to demo my cooked build. So I'll get that up and running and I'll start recording again. I cannot promise that I will be any good at my own game, but this is it. This is my final, my name, Trials of Love. Starting a game. All right, and then once you load in, you can pick these up and you see the points will increase. And when you run into these actors on the floor, my landmines, they will actually damage you, and these bubbles heal you. Nice. And that level is easy to like kind of cheese and go around, but the other two are not. And these bosses come pretty fast. I did include a sprint function, but I feel like it just makes it worse, like harder to control the character. So I might not use it as much as I should, I guess. But I'm trying here. That's actually pretty useful for that. And get all these points. Run into this. Load the next level. All right. And here you'll see press and hold Q to light the statue pathway while avoiding obstacles. I've got some moving platforms. This was super fun to figure out. This is where I might die a little bit, but it's okay. Try to avoid dying here. I just wanted to be carried. Okay. Let me get some health. All the points. Perfect. And I have these statues all the way through the map. So you press Q and it tells you where you need to go. Nope, do not take me back, please. And also, if you press M, you change to pink. Press N, you're red, so we'll be M and we'll be pink. All right. Nope. All right. And then this is like the big hoorah moment. These are all my photos and loading bottles. Yay. The confetti. go through, and then it's like, congratulations, press Q, you did it, and that's it. Game over. You can restart and it'll start you back on level 1. You could quit the game or you go back to the main menu. So let's quit the game just to show you that it will exit back to the desktop. Perfect. Alright, well, thanks for watching my game overview. I hope you enjoyed.